Hello and welcome back. My name is Jack B. and as always, thank you for viewing my video. In 2026, according to the CDC, measles cases continue to surge in the U.S. They say this is due to declining MMR vaccination rates, which are falling below the 92% herd immunity threshold. In addition to increased international travel that imports the virus and contributes to the disease spreading. The highly contagious disease is able to spread rapidly because the infections are occurring in pockets of unvaccinated communities and schools. Texas was the hotspot for infections during 2025. There were between 750 and 800 cases in Texas. There were 64 hospitalizations and 2 confirmed deaths. It was the state's worst outbreak in almost 30 years. As of February 27, 2026, South Carolina is the hotspot for infections for this year. The South Carolina Department of Public Health has reported 985 measles cases. This number already surpasses Texas's total for the year 2025. This is the largest U.S. measles outbreak in years. Over 90% of cases occurred in unvaccinated individuals. There have been 21 hospitalizations reported. According to Johns Hopkins, there are already 1,194 confirmed measles infections nationwide for 2026. 93 to 94% of the cases nationwide are among unvaccinated or unknown individuals. Measles is highly infectious. 9 out of 10 or 90% of unvaccinated individuals close to an infected person will get the disease. The virus spreads through the air via respiratory droplets when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. The virus can remain active on surfaces for up to 2 hours. It can be spread by touching contaminated surfaces and then touching the eyes, nose, or mouth. It is transmitted person to person, often before symptoms appear. An infected person can spread the virus 4 days before the rash appears and 4 days after. It is considered one of the most contagious diseases, with one person able to infect 12 to 18 others. Measles is only spread among humans. The MMR vaccine is the most effective method for prevention. Infected individuals should be isolated to prevent spreading the virus to others. Frequent hand washing and covering coughs and sneezes can help reduce transmission. Measles is highly contagious and can be a deadly disease for humans, especially children. The measles vaccine alone has saved millions of lives. The initial measles vaccine became available in 1963. In 1968, a more effective vaccine was introduced, which replaced the 1963 version. The combined vaccine for measles, mumps, and rubella was licensed for use in 1971. The modern MMRV vaccine, which adds varicella or chickenpox, became available in 2005. Before the vaccine was created, an estimated 3 to 4 million people were infected annually. There were 48,000 hospitalizations and 400 to 500 deaths annually in the U.S. Within years of the introduction of the vaccine, reported cases dropped by over 97%. Globally, the disease was responsible for an estimated 2.6 million deaths each year. Almost every child contracted measles before age 15, which resulted in major epidemics every 2 to 3 years. A look at the previous 9 or 10 years provides an indication to the rise of measles infections that might be associated with the reduction in the MMR vaccine. From 2016 through 2019, measles infections rose from 86 cases in 2016 to 1,274 cases in 2019. I suppose it was a coincidence that it was Trump's first term in the White House. From 2020 through 2023, measles infections ran from 13 cases in 2020 to 59 cases in 2023, with a high of 121 cases in 2022. The surge in the number of measles infections from 2024 through the present time indicates an alarming trend. There were 285 cases in 2024, then a surge of 2,281 measles infections during 2025. And as of February 20th, 2026, according to Johns Hopkins, there are 1,099 measles infections for 2026. And again, I suspect this is another coincidence that it is Trump's second term in the White House with an egregious surge of infections. The CDC leaders are acting like a 1970s cult who used too many hallucinogens. They use terms like presumptive evidence of immunity. There is so much talking in circles about the MMR and vaccines in general that the public is confused. They are afraid to get vaccinated, and they are also afraid not to get vaccinated. The CDC is not instilling confidence in their organization or providing clear-cut directions for the average person to follow. Of course, there will be a few people that will have a reaction to the shot, but then again, nothing is 100%. The CDC does recommend children to get 2 doses of MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. The first dose at age 12 through 15 months, and the second dose at age 4 through 6 years before school entry. The MMR shot is required for children to attend daycare, kindergarten, and grades 1 through 12 in all 50 U.S. states. Generally, 2 doses are required for school entry to prevent outbreaks. Exemptions may exist for medical or religious reasons depending on state laws. A valid certificate of immunization must be provided to the school. Prior to this administration and RFK Jr., the CDC recommended vaccinations against 16 different diseases in 11 injections. 1. Measles, mumps, rubella. MMR. Highly contagious viral infections, with measles being extremely contagious. 2. Diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, DTaP, protects against respiratory, nerve, and severe coughing diseases. 3. Polio, IPV, prevents a virus that can cause paralysis. 4. Varicella, chickenpox, protects against a highly contagious, itchy rash that can have serious complications. 5. Haemophilus influenzae type B, HIB, protects against severe bacterial infections like meningitis. 6. Hepatitis A and B, protects against liver infections. 7. Rotavirus, protects infants from severe diarrhea and vomiting. 8. Pneumococcal disease, protects against pneumonia, meningitis, and ear infections. 9. Human papillomavirus, HPV, prevents cancers caused by HPV. 10. Meningococcal disease, protects against bacterial meningitis. 11. Influenza, flu, recommended annually to protect against the flu. This administration and RFK Jr., through the CDC, have removed 6 vaccinations from the list. 1. Hepatitis A, protects against liver infections. 2. Hepatitis B, protects against liver infections. 3. Rotavirus, protects infants from severe diarrhea and vomiting. 4. Meningococcal disease, protects against bacterial meningitis. 5. Influenza, flu, recommended annually to protect against the flu. As of January 2026, this administration and RFK Jr., through the CDC, recommend vaccinations for children against 11 primary diseases in 7 injections. 1. Diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, DTaP, protects against diphtheria, lockjaw, and whooping cough. 2. Measles, mumps, and rubella, MMR, protects against 3 contagious viral diseases. 3. Polio, IPV, protects against the crippling and potentially deadly infectious disease. 4. Varicella, chickenpox, protects against the varicella zoster virus. 5. Haemophilus influenzae type B, HIB, protects against a bacteria that can cause severe, sometimes fatal infections. 6. Pneumococcal conjugate, PCV, protects against infections like meningitis and pneumonia. 7. Human papillomavirus, HPV. A 1-dose series is now recommended for long-term protection. Vaccinations do not just protect the individual who receives the vaccination, it also protects those who may not have received the vaccination. I question the decision-making ability of the Secretary of HHS. It wasn't that long ago he posted photographs he took of his family swimming in Rock Creek. According to the National Park Service, Rock Creek in Washington, D.C. is significantly polluted with high levels of bacteria, including E. coli, from raw sewage and stormwater runoff. The National Park Service prohibits swimming and wading due to these health risks. Ongoing monitoring of the bacteria levels by the District Department of Energy and Environment shows chronic elevated levels of fecal indicator bacteria. Exposure can cause illnesses such as diarrhea and skin infections in humans and pets. Swimming has been prohibited in Rock Creek for over 50 years. There appears to be a belief within some factions of the government that allowing the choice to receive vaccinations in the individual's hands, rather than the government taking the lead to protect the health and welfare of the majority of people in the U.S. When there is a highly contagious disease, all should take every step to protect themselves as well as others. Of course, if an individual cannot take a vaccine for medical reasons, such as being immunocompromised, then that is justifiable. Some people have strong religious beliefs also. This belief gets a little dicey. I am old school. I do not believe an individual has the right to endanger the masses because that individual might believe some unproven theory that has not been through any scientific research or testing. One last thing to think about is the fact that the FBI in recent months has discovered and taken down several CCP biolabs in the U.S. The biolabs were in garages and old storage buildings which did not provide any safety measures to mitigate exposure. They found pathogens and infectious agents in thousands of vials. Some were unlabeled, and others were coded. The labeling identified the contents as TB, HIV, malaria, COVID-19, chlamydia, E. coli, human herpes, dengue, rubella, hepatitis B and C, in addition to high-risk pathogens, including a freezer labeled Ebola. They also found biological materials, nearly 1,000 transgenic mice, genetically engineered to mimic the human immune system. Lab workers reported that these mice were intended to catch and carry the COVID-19 virus. Samples of blood, tissue, and other bodily fluids were stored in various containers, including Gatorade bottles. I mention this because the risk of infection for various diseases is very high. We really need to keep our vaccinations up to date. Well, these are my thoughts for today. And again, whether you agree or disagree, please verify the information presented. Thank you. And until next time, take care and be safe.
Ah. No, Kevin. Me na do it.
Ooh.